From the studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, it's time for This Week in League De Nutz with your host, Matt Commissioner Levine. Thank you. Welcome to This League. Oops, bumping my chin. Welcome to This Week in League De Nutz. Good thing that's soft. I am the Commissioner, Matt Nuts Levine. I know I'm a little late. Better late than never. Major technical difficulties. Don't want to really even talk about it. Had to reboot the computer, rebuild basically my templates to do the show in the streaming program I used. And then when you get down to it, last note, we'll get right into it. This is the most important thing. This little remote to zoom in and out would not jive with Wirecast, the program I stream with. Working with the camera, not working with the program. So I was completely zoomed in, 100% couldn't zoom out. Go figure, new problem. Anyway, problem solved, rebuilt my templates, took a little while, was prepped for the show. I am here, better late than never, and as Mama said, right, there'll be days like this. I'm going to try not to bump the chin on the mic. That's a first. Anyway, lots going on, of course, as you saw in the opening. Happy holidays. You know what this is. You got 4 teams left, don't we? 4 teams in the hunt for one of those. That is the League De Nutz Trophy. This is season number 11, of course. And the winner will get shekels. I need to get your guys' money. For those who haven't sent it, you can do it PayPal with the email address I use to communicate with the league. That's usually a good way to do it, right? Or you can send a postal mail, and I got to get you guys the address again. But if you go back and search, I'm sure you'll find it. But I'll have to get you guys the address. I always say I will, and then I don't, but I do. Anyway, so that's the League De Nutz Trophy. That's what the winner will get. So get your money in, PayPal. I'll get you the postal address. As soon as I end the show, I will email you the address again. The other one is the Vimeo. I have that too. So you can email me on the way you need to pay. And let's try to get the money in, I'll say, by the new year. So we can pay the winners promptly, right? I've got about a little less than half the money, which it was trickling in, and that's not good. That's my job to collect it from you guys. And, you know, what are you going to do? We'll get it in. We'll get it in for sure. But you know what? We got Final Four time. And we've got an interesting Final Four. I was thinking about it today. I was like, in context to me, of course, the Final Four is this. Men's college basketball, right? But you can, any Final Four left in the semifinals in any sport is your Final Four. But it kind of reminds me, not because it's the Bills' Final Four. I just plucked this one off of, a Google search. Of the teams we have in there, like a college Final Four, you can see in the top left corner, all the way around the horn, you got UConn, a perennial champion. Not the last few years since Coach Cal left, but a storied basketball program. Men's, women's. North Carolina, we know the deal. Same deal. Michigan State, Villanova. Basically, you've got 4 of, I would say, Duke's not there. You can throw them in the mix. 4 of 8 to 10 programs that are just awesome year in and year out. Year 11, as I said, in League De Nutz. And you have basically the most winningest teams in the finals. The most successful teams in League De Nutz are there in the Final Four. There you have it. Keldar, the top seed, will get his chance to square off against Loopy's Legends with the upset last week. We'll review it. 223-109 over Arizona. I keep saying Arizona. I know the guy has Arizona Joe. He's Arkansas, formerly Arizona Ozone Joe. Yonkers falls to the mighty Dodge Polk. And you got Smash U. He's going to take on Yonkers. So the 4 teams remaining, right? Out of those 4, they are responsible for 70% of the championships in League De Nutz in its 10 years. You've got three of the teams, Polk, Keldar, Loop, respectively, in the Final Four. They're all two-time champions. Pretty spectacular. So again, you got the stalwarts, the traditional winners. I guess you can say the best Final Four you can get, you have, with the all-time records and what they've done to get there this season. So congratulations to our Final Four. Cheers. L'chaim, slachis, mazel tov, whatever the hell you want to say. Salute. My power drink in the fancy wine glass. Okay. Let's do it. Let's talk about last week. I've got notes, and I've got notes. Let's start with the 5 over the 4. Loop, good job, buddy. 223, 109. Crushes the rookie. Get to the back of the bus, get your Filibertos, your 3-roll tacos, and get ready for 2020. Great rookie year, though, nonetheless, for Arizona Joe. Arkansas Joe, my bad. Ends at 8-7, wins his division, the Shoreham Drive East, gets into the playoffs, game over 500. Terrific. Loop, 9-6. They snap Ozone's 4-game winning streak. Loopy on the right way up, 2 in a row. How'd he get it done? Well, you had Mahomes. He delivered 31 points against Denver for Ozone. He wasn't the downfall, right? Quarterback was his usual great self. 27-34, 342, 2 touchdowns, and INT. So you got your 31. Loopy, interestingly enough, sits Josh Allen. Okay, a little ballsy there. Starts David Carr, doesn't matter, a wash. Both of them 17 points. Go to the running backs. Kamara, yep. I said last week, he's capable of exploding for a ginormous New Orleans-sized game. Nope, hasn't been his season. You know, much like Saquon, I think these guys are playing through injuries and you're just not getting the best. Saquon has come on a late. Kamara kind of stymied. A good game against Indy in the win. 14 rushes, 66 yards, only 13 points. Philip Lindsay, 3 points. No good. Why? Because Loopy's running backs went crazy last week. Gurley, 20 against Dallas. Drake goes nuts, 43. 22 carries, 137 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Pretty damn good trade there for Arizona over Miami. Godwin, 29 points. I keep saying, Molly, shh. You're about to hear barking. That's a disclaimer. Godwin, 29 points. I keep saying he's been a godsend, and he really has. He's been fantastic. So you get those 3 combined for 92 points, almost 100 points of your 233. 92 points. And what did I say? He scored Ozone 109. So only 17 points behind all of Ozone's total just with the running backs. Wow. Pretty special there. Wide receivers, Loops, Galladay, A.J. Brown, D-Hop. No problemo. 66 points. DeAndre Hopkins, A.J., and Galladay, they combined for, well, I should say, I'm sorry. Brown and Hopkins, they combined for 14 catches, 233 yards last week, and a touchdown. Galladay just had 8. Ozone, Cooper, Gallup, Parker, Dante Johnson. 3 of those 4 should be reliable for killer Sundays. Both. All the trio, I should say. Minus Dante Johnson. Expected bigger things, but all 4 of them combined for 35 points. Just a terrible Sunday from the stud wide receivers is my point. In the 223-109 loss for for Ozone, tight end wasn't the problem. Jared Cook, 9 for the win for Loop. You get 9 from your tight end from Dallas on Philadelphia. It's a wash, right? Intangibles. it mattered. Loopy, 30 points, okay? I talked about Loopy being able to essentially get the best defense in football off the scrap heap through waiver wire attrition, and that is the Patriots. 20 points they average per game, 16 points they average per game. They get 20 last week, allowed 1 touchdown, had 4 interceptions against lowly Cincinnati. Ozone, the intangibles, well, it mattered. 18 points overall, like I said. The star, Will Lutz, 10 points. Wonder how many times in his life he's been called putz for New Orleans. So too much with the running game, too much with the intangibles, too much overall. Loopy with the victory. Congratulations to him. What's he earn? A spot in the semis against his arch rival. These two love to go at each other, don't they? In fact, you know what? I'm going to encourage everyone out there to go onto that chat board, like on the scoreboard. I haven't done it all year. And interact. Instigate. Get some smack talk going between these two. I got to go check it. I was prepping for the show. I forgot to do that. But, curious if these two are going at it. If they aren't and everyone else wants to chime in, I think we should. Meanwhile, the other semifinal setup between a pair of two-time champs. Polk, Smash, 3 versus 2. 35-point favorite for Polk against Smash. Let me tell you how he got there. With the win over Yonkers, 199-168. Yonkers ends it 8-7. Great guest on This Week in League De Nutz. Great season. Second in the Haganah. Did his best. We knew what the downfall would be last week. We talked about it. We'll expound. With the win, Yonkers improves to 9-6 now. They move on to the semis, like I said. Big-time favorites. We'll get into the previews. For Polk, the quarterback story, Dak, not too bad. He's been great all season. Will he get the big money? I don't know. 21 points, 23 attempts, 15 completions, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns against the Rams in the 44-21 victory. Dak has been terrific, 26 a game. Came through last week, just a hair under his average, right? Meanwhile, for Keldar, he skipped Aaron Rodgers. He had 16 against Chicago, okay? Big gamble. Now, Keldar was... I'm sorry, I'm saying Keldar. I'm all over the place. Yonkers. We'll get to you, Keldar. Yonkers wanted to take glory in perhaps one of the biggest rolls of the dice, right? Like winning Dolly-Yo at the craps table. Wanted to claim a victory so badly by starting Ryan Fitzpatrick. Would you get Fitzmagic? Would you get Fitztragic? The gamble didn't pay off in a victory, but it didn't hurt him. 24 points for the 25th ranked quarterback. Against the Giants, 24-41, 2 touchdowns. He rushed pretty well last week, too. 4 carries. Anyone can run against the Giants for 33 yards, but not enough in the overall scheme of things. The running back game, Polk had Mixon going against New England. I talked about that last week. You needed a good one from Mixon. You got one. 23 points. Not too shabby. Singletary limited to 8 points. It was the downfall being Delvin Cook for Yonkers. This dude right here. This was the problem. Hurts his shoulder. 9 carries, only 27 yards. For one of the best running backs in football, the 4th-ranked running back in fantasy this year. That was a difference maker. McCaffrey held his end of the bargain. Another great Sunday for Yonkers. 36 points. But in the end, not enough Also Raheem for Yonkers from San Fran, 12 points. In the end, though, the running game stabilized by Mixon. Did his job, and that was good enough to weather the storm of what could have been if Cook didn't get hurt. I'll tell you that much. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Doesn't matter now. Wide receiver story. 6th-seeded Yonkers. 3rd-seeded Polk. Would the wide receivers make a difference? You damn right they would. Michael Thomas just keeps on doing his thing. He's just a brilliant, brilliant football player. He is the number 1 fantasy football player. And last week for the Saints, he's able to chip in with, what did I get him here, 30 points? No, it was Danny Amendola who had 30 points. That's the guy I wanted to get to. You know what? I didn't write down how many Thomas had. Michael Thomas, let's see. I didn't write it down. Danny Amendola, though. Let's move to Danny Amendola. We know how good Thomas is. Danny Amendola, 30 points for Polk. I say this all the time. You pick off guys off the scrap heap. Amendola goes crazy against Tampa Bay. 8 catches, 102 yards on 13 targets. How about that? 30 points from Danny Amendola. Good move there, Polk. Michael Thomas was great last week. I got him for 42 points, Thomas. I'm going to double-check that. 12 catches, 128 yards, and 1 touchdown. I found my own writing. I don't want to zoom in too much because I told you with the remote I had the problems, but it's just a mess. I don't know how I even read my writing, let alone what I highlighted, what's capitalized, italicized, blah, blah, blah. Yonkers gets 43 combined from Moore, Dede, and Hearns. Not enough. Moore the high man with 20 of those points. When you're getting 42 from Thomas, 30 from Amendola, 72 points. Danny Amendola, right? Pretty impressive for those Lions. It's amazing. Amendola, I think, is about 33, 32. He reminds me of the character Nick Nolte played in North Dallas 40 for some reason. It's that old washed-up receiver. Manages to hang around and make big plays. Tight ends. Polk had Kettle. 38. Guy's awesome. 13 catches, 134. 17 targets against Atlanta. Ripped them apart. And the loss, surprising one there, 29-22. Yonkers had Tyler Higbee. Good move. Higbee's hot. 3 straight weeks of 30 more points versus Dallas. 12 catches, 111. So did a great job there plucking Higbee onto his squad late in the season for the playoff run. So the tight end is really not the difference maker there. Intangibles, Polk, 24 between the Saints defense. Jordan Hicks, the linebacker, against for Arizona against Cleveland, did nicely with 9. And he has Butker, the kicker for Kansas City, best in the league. Held his end of the bargain. Averages 10, had 10 against Denver. Yonkers, on the intangibles, not too shabby. 23 points. Seattle defense chipped in nicely. The Houston kicker. And Bobby Wagner had 8 points, the Seattle linebacker, against Carolina. So, the difference here, right? The running backs. Again, Yonkers falls 199-168, and that is the final in the quarterfinals. Delvin Cook getting injured once again. Woulda, coulda, shoulda been. He goes down, and it's just not the same for Yonkers. But a great year, nonetheless. He made the playoffs, and the guy is always competitive. And hopefully we'll have him in next week on This Week in League De Nutz, maybe do the Christmas special. And he will give you his thoughts on what 2 teams will be lucky enough to get in the finals. Let's talk about that. Okay. Well, you got Polk and Smash, you got Loopy and Keldar. We'll start with the 3 versus 2. Polk, Smash. I mentioned a moment ago, right? Polk, a 35-point favorite, heavy favorite. Both teams with 9 wins. Historically, Polk has been a team to beat. Mentioned that before. 2009, 2010 champ. 3rd in 16, 3rd in 2018. Smash. Arguably the most successful team in League De Nutz. Has made the playoffs every year except one. 3rd in 2009. 3rd in 2013. 3rd in 2012. As you can see, the chronological order. Not quite there. Smash wins his first championship after being labeled a bridesmaid in 2015. Now, again, probably the most successful team. Once you get a title, you get into that argument. So both teams have plenty to brag about, and they want another Nuts Cup. They played in week 3. Smash won 133-115. Waller, tight end for Oakland, 38 points. Thomas, in that game, so let's see his magic here. Let's just see the beauty of Thomas. That dude go. You know, I had the number 1 pick. I love the Joe Horn tribute on this highlight too. Why didn't I just take Thomas? Once Saquon, I had to do it, right? Anyway, Thomas was pretty regular that game. 16 points. Prescott, okay, his average, 25, right? Said before he averages 26. Meanwhile, the guy that I like throughout the season for Smash was regular in that game too, and that's Eckler. Has been great. We'll talk more about him. Waller had 38 points, as I said, so he was the difference maker. Smash gets the win by 18. That was then. This is now. Quarterbacks. Tannehill. A great late season find for Smash, who's been able to plug just about everyone in at quarterback this year. Lost Big Ben early on, and he's had to do humans work in his lineup, and he has. He's averaged 22 points. I know he's a 21st ranked quarterback, but he's a lot better than that. And he's been great for Tennessee. He's had new life in Tennessee. Very surprised. Watch that guy for years down in South Florida. I never thought he was much of a quarterback, more of an athlete. Dak against Philly this weekend. Tannehill will take on New Orleans. Dak, the 4th best, as I said, averaging 26 points a game, I think. And this one, very interesting. Because you've got a guy that's an up-and-comer, and you got Dak, who's got big money on the line and a division title. But you've got 2 tough defenses. And they're going to be in Philly, Dallas. New Orleans is going to be at home. As crazy as I think this is, I think Tannehill could match Dak. I don't think it's a big advantage right there for Polk in the quarterback category, just because that guy's playing so well in that system in Tennessee. As far as the running backs go, mentioned Eckler, right? Let's talk about him. He's been awesome. Averaging 22 a game. Melvin Gordon, I drafted him like a moron too. He held out for, 4 weeks, and it took a couple weeks to get going, so it took like 6 to 8 weeks for him to be the Melvin Gordon we all know. In the interim, Smash was wise enough, I believe he drafted Eckler in the 8th round to pick him up. You put him in there, and he's done just terrific work for Smash throughout the season. And then Jones on Green Bay, another great pick by Smash in the draft. I think he took him 4th. I have to go back and look. He gets 20 points a game this season. So those 2 guys averaging 42 a game. And combined, they've scored 28 touchdowns, rushing, catching, touchdown machines. Can do it from all over the field. Catching, running the football, running the shotgun, give them draw plays, you can throw screens, right? They can block. They're just great football players and great dynamic running backs. So I love that 1-2 punch. Polk, I mentioned Mixon, kind of under the radar, and he's coming on of late. Had his best game week before last against Cleveland, 32 points. He had 23 points, as I said before, averaging 13 a game. Now, I look in Polk's lineup. I see this guy, Mike Boone. No, not Boone's Farms. Remember that back in high school, college? But Mike Boone, undrafted second-year player, 97 yards rushing, could become a prime-time player with Dalvin Cook listed as questionable. He's not going to go Sunday, it looks like, with a bad shoulder that ended Yonkers' season. So this dude's going to go. Polk, with a huge gamble, has him in the lineup right now. We shall see what happens. But that's a lot to ask for. You're going to need lightning and a bottle to get a big game from Boone. And by the way, I saw Coach Herman Boone, right, from Remember the Titans. Great movie. Passed away, may he rest in peace, yesterday at age 84. Running backs, advantage, easy. It's going to smash. Too much talent there with Jones and Eckler. Get the wide receivers. I talked about Polk's guy. Can't stop talking about him, Mike Thomas. You get him in the mix. He's going to be at Tennessee. Will Fuller looked okay last week despite the hamstring. Played 59 of 63 snaps. But he'll be good to go against the Bucks. So you've got that 1-2. Best game of the season for Polk, for Smash's top receiver, and Dante Adams. You're going to need it this week, right? Was back in week 4. He had 40 points, 10 catches, 180 yards against Philly. He leads the charge for some talented receivers, but guys that you're going to need the best Sundays of their career, besides Adams, is a steady Eddie. And Allen Robinson, he'll be taking on Kansas City, as well as the other Chicago Bear, and Anthony Miller. So you've got 2 Chicago Bears in the lineup with the other dude from the NFC North. Adams will go against Minnesota. I think that'll be a shootout. You'll get a lot of points there. So basically, you're going to need the other 2 guys to come up big, and you're going to need Adams to have the kind of week he had in week 4. Michael Thomas, we know what he's going to do. Fuller, I think he's healed enough. You play 63 snaps last week. Your hamstring should be okay. Take on a Bucs team. He can chew up easily. They're going to double team Hopkins. It's going to leave him open. So what I'm saying here, big time advantage. Thomas all day. I think Polk wins with those wides. When it comes to the tight end, you got Kittle. 3rd ranked tight end in League De Nutz. 19 points a game. Over 33 times this season. Best game last week against Atlanta. 38 points, no touchdowns, 13 grabs, 34 yards. Smash has got Waller. What a find by the Raiders, right? If you think he's great, knock on glass. So you got those 2 guys going this week. You got Kittle, you got Waller. I don't think it matters who they play. You got to toss up. They're both great. So I don't think the tight end's going to come into fruition. Only thing left to do, pick a winner. This one's tough. Polk, a commanding 35-point favorite. I think it's going to be close. I really do. I think the running backs are going to carry Smash. The receivers are going to carry Polk. And then whatever else happens, Tannehill's going to hang with Dak. And you're just going to have the chips fall into place. Intangibles and all. Kansas City defense for Polk. Steelers defense for Smash. Both defenses in the top 10. What can I say? But Polk wins. 132 to 130. 2-point victory for Polk in that one. So that's how I have that cookie crumbling. Let's move on, shall we? Loopy will take on Keldar. 13-point favorite for Keldar, 11-3. Loopy 9-6. Played in week 7. Keldar won 178-137. At that time, Keldar was in the midst of a 9-game win streak. Loopy, as I mentioned, has won 2 straight. Keldar had the week off last week. He had that 9-game win streak snapped in week 13, split the last 2 games of the season going 1-2. Doesn't matter. The record's 11-3. In the week 7 matchup, Loopy was led by Gurley. He had 20 points. Can use a big Gurley effort this week. That was against Chicago. Meanwhile, Latavius Murray coming through in the clutch while Chubb was on bye. Murray had 36 points in that win for Keldar. Don't think he'll be a factor this week, but you know Chubb will. Historically, Keldar, some great history in League De Nutz. 2016, champion over Bo Hickey. Won the championship against Smash in 13. Third place finishes in 2011 and 10, respectively. For Loopy, lost the first Nuts Cup to Polk. Bounced back quickly, though, in 2010, the year after. Wins it all, and wins it all in 2011, the only natural back-to-back champion for his 2 titles. Third in 14, and last year, tough year, but he bounced back. He won 6-7, so it shows you, right? Didn't derail him. Was better than ever this year. As far as the quarterbacks go, well, I had a great picture. There it is. That's what you got. You got Loopy with Allen back in the fold. We'll take on New England in Foxborough. Lamar, he's going to play at Cleveland. Lamar, the number 1 fantasy football quarterback and the number 1 football player quarterback in the NFL. 33 points a game. 66% on his passes. I'll be the first to say this. I didn't think he was a better passer than Tebow. I said that last year. Wasn't I wrong? 2,900 yards plus passing. 33 touchdowns against 6 interceptions. Broke the record for the all-time mark of the most yards rushing in a season by a QB. Surpasses Michael Vick easily. 1,103 yards running. Wow. 7 touchdowns on the ground. Pretty spectacular. He'll chew up Cleveland. I think it's a tough matchup there for Allen against New England. So, Allen, who's having a great year, he's kind of like the, I don't want to say poor man's because he's much better than that. He's kind of like the junior varsity version of Lamar Jackson. Not as flashy, as talented, but he can run, is what I'm saying. 467 yards rushing, 18-9 on the touchdown interception ratio with 2,800 yards passing. So he can get the job done, and he's tough as nails. But the advantage, not obviously, but in my opinion, goes to Lamar Jackson and Keldar on that matter. Running backs, Chubb Nice will take on Baltimore. Fournette against Atlanta. James White will be in action against those Buffalo Bills. All 3 of them average 50 points combined. Chubb, 19 on his own. Great football player. Love Chubb. I ridiculed Keldar. Thought maybe Chubb would be a better second-round pick. It was his first-round pick. I think Keldar picked 11th or 12th, and he did a great job selecting him. Loopy, meanwhile, love the fact he has Drake, who's gotten a second life in Arizona, and he's got Gurley. I mean, these are no stiffs. And you've got Godwin. So you've got some great running backs there too. Godwin has been fabulous. He's averaging 25 a game. I mean, you've got a 3-headed monster on your own, and you've got 2 3-headed monsters on both teams. You've got an amazing amount of talent. I don't know really hard to say where the advantage lies if everyone's firing on all cylinders, but that's the but, because Chubb and Fournette are guaranteed to have great games. Drake, you got to see, takes on Seattle. Gurley takes on San Francisco, tough. Godwin is in action Oh, I'm sorry. Godwin has a hamstring. He's hurt. So Loopy doesn't even have him in his lineup. So he may be out. So right now you don't have a 3-end monster. I told you I can't even read my own notes. So the advantage, it lies with Keldar. But not by much, because I think if the other guys erupt, Keldar could get upset by these running backs. So nearly a toss-up, but no Godwin. That's going to hurt. But the other two guys very capable of having big games, despite taking on two very tough defenses. Whereas Keldar's guys are going against softer defenses. But I expect a competitive matchup with the running backs. Wide receivers. Loopy's got 3 guys there combining for 60 points this year. Hopkins, Galladay, A.J. Brown. Hopkins is averaging 22 a game. Love that guy. If it wasn't Thomas, in hindsight, that I should have selected first, I would have taken Hopkins. Keldar. He's got an interesting dilemma with this third wide receiver. He's got 2 really good frontline ones with Boyd and Diggs. Boyd about 15 a game. He'll take on Miami. Diggs against Green Bay. Love Diggs. What can you say, right? Great football player right there. His best day, Diggs. Most points this year. He went crazy. I remember this. This is what got Keldar on a roll. 65 points in week 6 against Philly. How good was he? 7 grabs, 167 on the yards, 3 touchdowns. Wow. So you've got frontline guys in Boyd and Diggs, and then you got Robbie Anderson, who helped Keldar out late in the season. I think in the final game of the year, came through at 30-something. And Juju. Not sure if Juju's going to play for Pittsburgh. He's still banged up. But there's a chance. And you got Samuel from Carolina against Indianapolis. So you got a couple of guys that are question marks. Samuel's healthy, but he didn't really do much this year for Keldar, or anyone's fantasy team for that matter. I had him in one of my 3 leagues. So Robbie Anderson can't go because he's banged up. Juju can't go. By default, you got to go to Samuel or you got to go to the waiver wire. But I like the 1-2 punch. You get enough action with Boyd and Diggs to battle that big 3 for Loopy, who has the edge, though, in the wide receivers in this one. Unless Diggs can go ape, you know what. It should be interesting in the wide receiver battle. Tight ends, Keldy's got Andrews. Another great draft pick. We know how good he is. And as I mentioned, right, Lamar Jackson should tear apart Cleveland. I think Andrews will do that as well. Loopy's got Dallas against Dallas on Philly. I like Dallas. He's a good tight end. He averages 10 points a game. He's the 15th ranked tight end in League De Nutz. No other real choices for Loopy. He's got Dallas, and that's who he's going to stick with. Andrews, slight advantage. If you go by the averages, I think that's, what you get. Andrews averaging 14 a game. Dallas, I said, 10 a game. About a 4-point difference, so a slight advantage going to the Keldster. Intangibles, that Patriots defense against Buffalo. They're great. Loopy's got them. Keldar with the defense has got the Falcons. Worries me. Average about 7 points a game. They take on Jacksonville. He needs a defensive player. So until they straighten out their lineups, or Keldar does, adds the last player to the mix, I'll just take Loopy. I would take him anyway, despite the defensive player, because that Patriots defense is that good. One thing left to do, and that is give you a winner. Oof, Keldy by 13. These two are vicious. Like I said, I got to check out that chat board. See if they're going at it. Encourage everyone to rile them up. What are we going to have here? A Keldar win. 141 to 140. Sorry, Luke. I think you get denied of the Nuts Cup. I think Keldar gets in there. So in the end, we are going to have one fascinating Sunday of no, what did I say? Saturday. That's right. I wanted to say that before. There are Saturday games, right? The Thursday night, the Saturday, and Sunday games. So I think we're going to have one fascinating weekend of League De Nutz football in this Final Four. It should be great. I was looking for my final score that I picked. I make such a mess. There's just cards everywhere. I forgot the final score. I picked Loopy. Picked Polk to win. I think picked Polk 132 to 130. So that's what we got for a final. I'm going to put Keldar in there, and I'm going to put Polk in there. And it's going to be the top seed against the third seed for the Nuts Cup in 2019. That's what I have for this week in League De Nutz. That's it. Next week, bring you some bells and whistles. Try to get a guest in. Yonkers Shotgunners, maybe one of you other guys. Try to see if I can get AB's painted helmet. He did offer to come on a couple weeks ago. It just didn't happen on both ends. Try to get him back in the mix. And if any of you guys want to join as a guest, it's simple. I send you a link that looks like a WebEx link or GoToMeeting, Zoom kind of thing. And you can do it mobile or you can do it from the desktop, and you can come onto the show. If you're too shy to show your beautiful mug or ugly mug, we can do audio. But, Yonkers isn't afraid to show up. Guys sporting bling, sunglasses, the Dapper Don suit. You get the drift. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with a quote here from the great Vince Lombardi. This says it all. For the 4 teams remaining, I wish you the best of luck. And we shall see who comes up roses and heads into the 2019 League De Nutz title game next week. Good luck to the Final Four. I'll see you next week on This Week in League De Nutz. Adios.